Good.
Okay.
Okay, is that good?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the numbers? Yeah,
Yep.
numbers at the top.
Yep.
Okay, we're back. I've been staring at this week and realized I miss, that some things are wrong. Last week when I needed to lift some stuff here, I lifted below what was the horizon line. And then what was happening over here, I was going, oh, that's too opaque. If it's clouds, I've got to have some of the light coming through. Well, once it finally dried, what I did is I got my T-square, the longer one, and I lined it up to where, okay, here's the water line here. So do you see how that is actually supposed to be water? Okay. So the part that I thought was too opaque, if I line it up with my water, so that should be my water. So because it's dry, I'm gonna, and I don't want a pencil, I'm gonna get, it's these, it's a pastel pencil.
That's what you sold me that you do your drawing in, right?
Right. And it might not be dark enough to see. Yeah, I think it is. So the water line will come to here, it'll fill in here, and then connect over here. Okay? And you could use a darker pencil if it doesn't show up. But, I mean, that's one thing I love about pastel pencils is I can come back. Pastel's made with the same pigment that oil is. It just doesn't have the medium
And you're
To
matching
hold
it
it
to,
down. to this part right here.
okay, because this is not water.
No, that's land.
fields or
That's
whatever, right?
that's foliage. So I come over here and I can double check over here to make sure that the trees and things are higher over there, and then that this line would then continue.
you can see it
Does
now.
that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not going to fool with that right now because I'll come back and fix it later. But y'all were really mainly wanting to work on this person here, and I was kind of avoiding it myself.
I didn't want to mess things up. So I didn't.
Oh,
Brad?
You know,
Is it Brad?
I
Okay.
have no idea
It's
who it
Mystery
is.
Man.
No, because when I go to the beach, Brad's not with me. This is
Okay.
I always go with girlfriends because if he has time off, he wants to go to the mountains. Like we hiked yesterday. It was cold, but it was good.
Where
about,
did you go?
About 7 miles. FDR State Park.
Oh.
We just did one of the loop trails.
Is that over near Callaway?
Okay, so what I want to look at when I do him is, or her, it's probably him. I'm looking at really short hair. You just want a suggestion of a person, and if I also want to include in the picture the pastel that I did, I made the distant people a little bigger than they were in the photo, and you can choose whether to leave them out or include them. But when you're working with people in a photo and you have your horizon line, what you want to do is if the horizon line is like right here on their chest, you want that same part of them to be on the horizon line when they're way back there. So they'll be really little, but their head will be above the horizon line, and that's if they're along the same. Now, if they're over here, obviously closer, it's not going to matter. But going, it's though you have this vanishing point. The vanishing point's right here, and you're coming out. And then that their feet would be more than 2/3 below the top.
Interesting. But that makes sense. Otherwise, they look like you stuck them on.
Yeah,
Like if
Now-
they were down in the dirt.
yeah. Because what it is, it's your eye level. It's your eye level. So if I was down low and his knees were at the horizon line, I would have to have a similar relationship with those in the distance. They're above, their knees and above would be, now children, that varies because they're different in height. But I got that out of one of the books about drawing people quickly, and just to get the proportion of them. Okay, so I pulled out my palette from the freezer, and it still is Bible, so I can do a little stuff with it. And because I'm working small today, I'm going to get one of my smaller brushes. I might end up going smaller than this. This is a number 2 flat. I do a lot of work detail with this because I can either lay it flat or turn it sideways. And for those of you who think, it's like the glasses I'm wearing today are different. They're my prism glasses, not my prism. See, these are my normal ones. But when my eyes are really tired and when I'm working up close, especially I have to use these when I'm working on the computer. These are my regular ones. But when I'm working on the computer, it doesn't work. It just gives me a headache. But it's because my left eye looks out ever so slightly.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
If I look right at you, it's ever so slightly out. And there's a prism in this lens that pulls my eye in. And then it's like, oh wow, you're in focus now.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I put these on, I think I saw 3D for the first time in my life. It was incredible. Okay, so glasses commercial. I want to pick something dark. I don't want black. So I'm just looking at all the things that I have on my palette from last week. I have some dark purples. I have alizarin. I have phthalo, ultramarine. And I'm just going to go for some dark colors and mix them together, because when you put a little bit of all of your primaries, then you're going to get a black. So I'm going to pull my darkest blue is phthalo, and phthalo has a lot of leans toward the green to me. I'm going to pull whatever dark purple this is probably dioxazine, and I'm going to pull, I don't know, I'm not sure what red that is. But, get an index card, test it. That's probably a little too purple. So I'm going to add a tiny bit of orange. If I want to, opposite of purple is actually yellow, and orange has yellow in it. So I want to,
That's a good
I like that better. But index cards are great to test your colors, because sometimes you think you're going to like it and you're going to go, no. Now that might be too harsh. I'm not sure.
Which one? You looking at the second one?
This one.
The top one?
This
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So your palette that you pulled out of the freezer, that dark mixture's not on it?
No, that's right there.
Oh, that's that.
I just
Okay.
made it. I just pulled from dark. When I want something dark, I just look at what's dark, what's already dark on my palette, and I go, well, blue's dark, purple's dark, alizarin's dark, and then I mix it together. And if I say I wanted it more blue, I could pull a little bit to the side, mix it, make it a little bit more blue. That's a little bluer. If you can't tell, you add white. White is the equalizer.
So you're trying to go darker than what's up there now?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
That's
was
going to be
trying
my
ask.
darkest dark.
Gotcha.
What I'm trying to create right now is my darkest dark. So if you make a dark and you're not sure how it's leaning, add white. You see how that one's bluer than this one? And this one's purpler than that one. Okay. But it's just a matter of personal preference as to what you want. But I do want this silhouette to be the darkest thing on the, because your verticals in your landscape, in your paintings, your verticals are your darkest dark. Whether it's a building, whether it's a person, whatever. Now I also have some really darks in the waves over here.
Yes.
So I could add more of those over here, just while I've got my brush a little dirty. I can just exaggerate a little bit of that to create a little bit of movement over on this side. And last week I realized I wasn't backing away enough. So y'all remind me. Okay, so I'm just going to lay in just some of this. If I don't like it, I can adjust it. I don't want his head very big. Think of his head as kind of just like a exclamation, that exclamation point. We want shoulders. Oh, his head's a little too big there. Shoulders, arm,
Are you gonna have him carrying his coat like he's in the photo?
probably.
Huh.
So he on the photo it comes out. Your elbow is about where your waist is. So
How about that? But it is.
your elbow's about where your waist is. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Unless
And
you're
when
in
your
a
hand, you know,
orangutan.
when you stand up and your hands are down, they're to the top of your thigh, so they're below your hips. When you're bent, your elbow is still at your waist. Okay, so, you know, so if you have something in your arm, you're gonna see maybe this elbow sticking out
Uh-huh.
here, and then and this hanging out. Now, I'm going inside my sketch. You see, my sketch goes this far out because I haven't decided how big I want him. So I'd rather start skinny
Yeah.
and then add more. Then the legs are you know longer. If this was if this was the waist, his hips are down here. And it's not exact because he's moving or she's moving or whatever, and the coat could be longer. And then when you create your reflection, you're doing the similar thing, but you want it in reverse and you want it broken up. You don't want it solid because it's reflecting from your
It almost looks like the same stroke you do when you do bark on a tree, is it?
yeah, similar sideways.
Is the reflection the same dark or
No.
no? It's
And
lighter.
see, and I've even made this reflection shorter than what I originally did. See, the original one was down here. So that's one, you know, one thing about, well, okay, that's too close to that if it's going to be that long. I've got to decide if I'm going to make it shorter or longer. I really kind of like it shorter than long.
Is the reflection usually longer than the object?
Depends on where the sun is.
Oh. Why is it
Always
always gotta be
depends.
variable?
Always
But
depends.
It depends. Okay, I'm
Always.
going to move that. I'm going to go with what I originally drew, and I'm going to make the reflection longer. So that means I've got to remove that
Sticky up
that
part.
sticky up part. Whoops. Help
Oh,
if
is
you
that
clean
his
your
hand?
brush.
The
That's his
coat.
hand.
The coat.
No, that'd be like
No,
a
that
coat.
sticky up part right there.
Oh, it's
What?
his
Yeah.
little jacket. Look
Yeah.
how you got it off with mineral spirits on that brush, on a clean brush.
Well, yeah, and see, my background's dry.
What
Right.
if I don't have a sketch of the man? I've already painted over it. What would you
It
do?
doesn't
to
matter.
sketch it? Okay.
Oh well, you can sketch it if your paint's dry. You can sketch it with
That blue pencil.
a blue pencil or a darker pencil or vine charcoal. But I don't know. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to create a. Okay, that's a little too dark, but I can come back and lift it up in a minute. I want probably that part coming about right in here, and the head somewhere in here. Oh, no big deal. Okay, so it's broken up. It's right now it's kind of hard edges, so I wipe the paint off my brush, and I can slide in from the outside in. I can take that, slide it out, and I'm just blurring the edge
Oh.
because I don't want it to look like a hard edge. So I'm softening. Now if I go out too far like that, then I just lift it off and pull it back in. So it's just a kind of a gentle push and pull. But what I do want to do is I want to come back and establish some of the colors and make some of my paints, oh, that's too bright, near my shadow a little more vibrant and heavy. But I don't want to mix, I don't want to,
Pure
kinda-
color.
yeah, a little more pure color.
And why do you do that?
I don't know. Well, partly because I wanted to get rid of the shadow. I want to get rid of this ghost shadow around him that I created
From your
with my
original
underpainting.
sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Ghost.
that's what I mean. That's what I call it. All right. So I'm going to just start up here. So here I want to soften that part right there. So I'll just bring some of that out. That's pretty vibrant, but it helps get rid of that bit right on the edge of him. I don't want a halo, so to speak. And there was some of that here.
I don't see the halo.
Well, you probably don't
It's
because you're
kind
not
of a
that
gray-
close.
Gray halo.
So here, let's see, I want to establish where I'm going to also need to bring in, like Hillary did, some of this other water. So when I create some of this other water coming in, just kind of randomly,
Is that your same dark color and they diluted it with mineral
Sa-
spirits?
probably similar, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
The dark colors you did the
Man with.
So I'm gonna do a Hillary and blur some of this even more.
Hillary.
Well, she
Yeah, on
told
her.
us. She told us to do it. See how you drag your flat brush down to make it look like reflection on.
Why
wet
is that a
sand.
Hillary?
Okay, she did it
She
really
just
good
did
on her.
it on that
she
one.
did it on
Oh,
her.
gotcha.
Oh Lord,
Okay.
now you got me nervous.
I mean, and
Pressure's on.
the
People
pressure's
say
on.
pressure.
Yeah, I told Hillary to come paint it on mine. She wouldn't do it.
Because I'd screw yours.
No, you won't.
I kept messing with mine, and I said, "Leave it alone. Stop."
But in here, what? Oh, that's too bright. That's too vibrant. But just having some. I'm gonna even run it. Having some drips, it's even
Ooh.
okay to do
I
that.
love those drips.
And that's just giving you I almost like that better than the controlled one. See what I'm talking about? It adds variety and of texture. And it's kind of fun.
So to do the drips, you use very thin paint with mineral spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's beautiful. They're painterly looking.
very painterly.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to be careful because if you go back over that and with a towel or something, you can lift it right off and it can go down farther than what you meant it to go down. So I'm gonna add some of that along in here. If you don't like it, wipe it off.
Oh, I like it.
Backing up, I don't know. I gotta back up and see what this is doing.
I like it.
But I want it to look like water. I want it to look like, wet sand.
Yeah, you want that sheen to come through.
Yeah.
Is that what the drips provide?
The drips and layers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the mineral, some people might go, oh no, not mineral spirits because that's putting a thinner. But see, all of this is thin.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is thin. Traditional oil, you go from thin to thick. So I haven't put any thick paint here. If I had put thick paint here, this would not be a good idea because it's so thin. You're supposed to put thick paint over thin paint. And because if you put thin paint over thick paint, the way oil dries, oxidation, it's going to crack over time. So another way to do this, if you had some thick, I don't know that you'd want to do it with really thick. Honestly, if I had really thick, I'd probably drag it, the paint itself, like a palette knife. And you know how you can just create that blur by pulling your paint. And kind of like I did on some of that up there. But see, I love this. This is reading way better to me than over here. You see how boring this is now over here? So, are y'all hot or is it me?
It's fine.
Well, you're under
Okay.
hot light working.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, it's all this.
Stress.
All right, so I just put in some and then I just dabbed it. I'm gonna wet it down. You don't want everything the same, but then you can drag some of it up, drag some of it down. You don't, you want a variety. I want some next to him, so I'm not. I'm liking that better.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it mirrors the sky better. That drippy effect, because
Mhm.
up in the sky you've got all that going on with the colors, and now to me it, especially this right here, just really mirrors it. Good.
I'm liking that.
Yeah.
Be careful of this. You see how you don't want to leave a pattern. You know how your mind likes, man, your mind likes pattern, and it continually
Like the drip.
pulls you back. This is a little maybe bluer,
That looks good from back
but
here.
I'm gonna I want to have a variety of color over here. This was a little. I mean, I don't want your eye brought there, but I want a variety. So I'm just looking at what's on my palette, picking up a little bit, dabbing it in, carrying around the edge. That up there is a little darker, a little bluer. So you can definitely tell where I want you to be able to tell where the ground is versus the sand, or it be a subtle change. Okay, so I don't mind him at all.
I think he looks good.
I think he's great.
Okay.
Will you do my man?
No, I won't.
Damn it!
You can trace him. just put a piece
Wait
of
for him
paper
to
on your
dry.
eyes, trace him, and then
Except
Alright.
for my painting's smaller.
So now I
Be a
really
giant.
want to put some people in the distance.
Ooh.
So I've got this brush too big. Go back to smaller brush.
So it's a number 1 flat?
This is a 2.
Oh.
So again, I'm gonna brace my fingers so I don't want to go too far up, but I just want this person, but probably too watery, too much mineral spirits. See, now his head's gonna be further down than this guy's head, but it's barely above the horizon, and I'll have to reestablish the horizon in a minute.
it looks like a person.
Okay.
Here he is.
It's just tiny suggestions.
Tiny suggestions. How many of them are there?
However many you want.
However many you want?
Yeah.
I see 3.
I'm gonna put.
Using the tip of the corner.
Kind of the side. Yeah.
Look at them. They're so cute.
But see, it's just suggested that they're back there, and I don't want them to be as dark as this person. And I'm gonna establish this water again. Yeah,
So if there was a person between them, how
it would be they'd be taller. It
okay.
would be the heads would be in between,
Okay.
and it's like if there was a vanishing point here.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
Okay.
does that make sense?
So you
Good
really
question.
couldn't put a person? Could you put a person to the left, or you just wouldn't?
You could
But then what would you do?
depend. Okay, so if I wanted one
On
over
the
here,
speck.
I mean it could be here. You want me to put one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, don't be mad at us.
Okay. Okay, so if I want one over here that's closer than this one,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, closer.
yeah,
I wanna
it's
see what
closer
you
than
said.
this one.
Closer. Yeah.
So their head's gonna be bigger, their body's bigger.
Ah. That's neat.
Okay, that's what. Oh, that's exactly
That's
It's
a
what
good
I was
just your
asking.
brain picks
Good
up on it.
question.
It tricks your brain into
That's too
thinking.
bright. But I mean it.
That looks great.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
this
the
one.
bigger one, you're gonna have to add a little shadow, though, aren't you? Just a hint of one or not?
He doesn't have shadow in
You don't.
It could
Well,
it
yes.
could be.
Looks
Uh,
very jet black.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You mean
Maybe
underneath?
between his legs where he's taking a step. There's
Yeah, there's
a
not.
hint.
Yeah. That looks really good.
That one's too vibrant to me. How does it look?
Well,
back there?
from back here, it's
From
hard
here
to
it looks
see.
fine, but the paint is wet, so it's glaring, and we can't really tell.
Is that any better?
Not really, but that's
Not really. Okay. Well, it's too blue, so I'm gonna get a smaller brush
And take some off.
and lift some of it out.
That was a good question, Suzanne.
Because I know you might see people different places, but
Oh, you
who
will.
They
They
could
could
be.
be.
They all had their head above
Okay,
the
now you're
horizon
adding a
line.
dog.
Really?
We add a dog.
Add a dog, is that what you're saying? With a leash?
You
Or
could.
what, running loose.
Running loose.
Running loose.
With a ball in its mouth.
Or a frisbee.
There
Let's
you
for
go.
a frisbee.
Y'all are funny. Y'all can do that on yours.
Okay. In other
Now,
words,
if
hell
I
no,
was
not
if
me.
I was at a different
Put your
angle,
dog
because
name,
usually
Max,
You
put
can
Max in
add
there.
usually at the beach, if you're watching an animal, you're looking out toward the water, and people are walking. You're instead of seeing them, coming at you. I mean, you can still do that coming at you, but most of the pictures I have of dogs are running sideways or walking with, so that you see the person and then the silhouette of the dog. But yes, because he's closer to me. Y'all ask about the. I don't necessarily see the shadow this way, but it's the reflection that you'll see. So, I need to take just a little bit of the brush.
Goodness.
Okay.
Such a steady hand.
Well, do you see how I put my finger down
Ah.
and do that?
Yes.
Also, if you have trouble with your steady hand, there's a couple of things you can do.
There are devices for this too.
There are
you can buy,
devices for
Hillary.
that.
And if when we were trying to do the people, we just said, no, it just ain't
And don't do
working.
it.
Then don't do
But
it.
you just take it off with the mineral spirits with a clean brush.
Oh,
What you
yeah.
do? Or would you just blur them in?
He'd be hard to get off.
Because you did an underpainting,
Uh-huh.
you could take off what you did in the paint,
Okay.
but then you would have to paint enough of your oil to cover up where you did the underpainting and left him dark.
Mm-hmm.
But you just paint thicker. Okay, so now I have a stick over there. You can actually use a stick. It's a little heavy. This is my homemade variety of an all stick. This is
It's like a pants coat hanger.
it's
isn't it?
an extender for your closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you hold this with one hand and you brace your hand with the other, so you have a steady hand for things you're doing. So those are the things. That was my makeshift one.
I like that.
Those are free because I already had them. It's called a maul stick, MAU or MAW. This was one I liked because it would collapse, open up, and it had this little star thing that would grip, and I could do it that way. I really like them longer though, because if I'm working small paintings, that's fine. But it's really great because my hand shakes, especially age or whatever. This is another one that collapses. It comes in actually 3 parts, but here's one. It's in thirds right now, and so you just brace that like that and paint. So if you're ever doing something and you need a steady hand, grab a stick and lean it against your canvas. I'll work a little bit more in here. I think I'm okay with the people. His head might be a tiny big. I'm not sure. I need to go back over here and reestablish my horizon line. I'm going to just do that real quick with where I can see the.
Look at you doing it without any compunction, just straight line.
Whoopsie. Compliment curse.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Compliment curse.
I
Curse
praised her for doing it with such a steady hand.
And then I
So
messed
then
up.
she messed
Could you put the straight edge and just paint along it?
You
works
could,
in a
yeah.
tennis game.
That's
If
what we
you're
did last
trying to
week.
get
I was just
small.
trying to not do that.
Yeah, but I was wondering
And
if there's a
then
reason why you
exercise.
wouldn't.
No, I mean this one with the clear ruler.
Yeah.
If you can hold your hold it
Yeah,
right, you can
right.
just.
Does
Right,
it ever bleed up
exactly.
under the ruler?
Oh, yeah, but see, I'm painting it. The paint's
Very dry.
hopefully coming kind of down,
Yeah.
and that's actually easier.
Because if I were to do it freehand,
Wow,
it would be
Wow.
like,
straight.
it would just, I would be higher, lower, higher,
Mhm.
or just like chopping
Yeah.
a leg off a table.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you know how
Before
you can
know
never
it, you've
quite
got
get
a
it
TV
right. So,
tray.
yeah, you end up with a TV tray.
Okay. But do you see when I fixed that line, how
How it
this
changed so
made
much.
such a difference?
Yes.
That looks great.
Huge difference.
And then I got to come around here. Whoops.
Mm.
Since I painted around the edge, I've got to make sure that that horizon line makes sense with what I did. And I might stare at it for another day or two and decide if that's done or not. I know I need to flip it and do the underneath. I haven't painted anything up under here. Y'all, does anything stick out to y'all?
I think it's beautiful.
That because when I'm through, I sit back and look at it, or I put it in a position where I can see it when I walk by. And if there's something that your eye is drawn to, and it ends up being a negative, then that's what you need to go back and fix. If your eye is just pleasantly drawn and you just wander around and you just come back to it and you're just like, oh, okay. But unless there's something specific that bothers you, leave it alone. Walk away. Don't bother with it, because when I come back and try to do every detail in a picture, is when I usually screw it up.
So that shadow coming back
It's
is
her
going to get no
pastel.
lighter. You don't want it any lighter.
And she put
That's
some
it.
kind of fixative.
Which
over
one?
it, so
The
you can
shadow
put-
under
she
the
did that
man.
as kind of a
That's you want to
color
leave it
study.
that dark.
It was
She
dark.
posted that a few
I
years
might-
ago, and we all
I
raved
might
about
lighten
the
it. I don't know. I have to look.
Yeah,
But it was
See, when you look
it
at the
was pretty
photo,
dark.
yeah.
See.
It's,
What about the photo?
Yeah, it's pretty
shadow-
dark.
It's pretty dark.
The dark shadow.
I
But
instinctively,
it also,
I instinctively would lighten
Which
it
type
without,
shadow?
just in
Man.
my
Right.
head. It
Well,
seems
what
better
you-
to lighten
What
it.
you might could do
Dark
is
is
you
quite
could
dark.
take
Yeah.
you could
And
take
then
little
there's a
bits of
yeah,
this
Darker,
orange
a less dark
kind of
reflection
drag it-
next to
yeah.
drag it
whatever
into
that
it.
is.
Yeah,
Cloud
exactly.
reflection.
Because it's
Yeah.
really
So I
interacting
have
with
that
the
in my
sheen of the beach.
Yes.
Painting that cloud
Yes.
reflection.
So
And
You
of
know,
course,
it's-
that's, yeah,
on both of these,
yeah.
towards his head and shoulders of the shadow, you have blue
blue.
on the right hand side.
Yeah, he really
At
is
the
dark.
head and shoulders of the
That's a
shadow.
very dark, that's a photograph, isn't it?
The
Yeah,
one on the right's a
It's dark,
photograph.
huh?
yeah.
So
See, I instinctively would
Anyway,
like
here's-
it.
Uh-oh, we're getting Joanna.
that's
I'm
okay.
sorry, I shouldn't be talking, that's not
No,
my
we're
painting.
good.
No, it just.
But is that
the
enough
thing
for
got
y'all
knocked.
to
Oh, I'm
go
sorry.
work on
You
yours?
didn't. Yes, thank
Unless
you
see
so
some-
much.
unless you see something of
No,
oh
yeah,
this
that's great.
this bothers me, But drawing people quickly. Think about your and I'll fool with the sand a little bit more, and I might do something in here.